Welcome to this professional learning on the Critical Components tool for special education programs. The development of this tool was funded by the Special Education Leadership Academy in cooperation with the Illinois State Board of Education as part of the Blueprint Project. As we begin this professional learning, it would be helpful to download the handouts so they are available to reference throughout the presentation. The handouts include the Critical Components tool for Special Education Programs Screener, the Critical Components tool for Special Education Programs, which includes the purpose, instructions for administration, rubric for evaluation, and team discussion notes. And the last piece is the data analysis worksheet.
The objectives for this professional learning are as follows. Increase knowledge about the Critical Components tool for special education programs. Describe the purpose of the tool and the history of its development. Develop the skills to support districts, schools, and cooperatives in the administration of the tool and additional resources. And finally, locate online resources to support the administration of the tool.
The Illinois State Board of Education has stated that in successful districts and schools, there is a collective commitment to collaboratively identify, plan, implement, monitor, evaluate, and communicate changes necessary to continuously improve student learning for all students. Further, it is essential to ensure that students with IEPs have opportunities to benefit from high quality instruction, to reach the same standards as all students, and to leave school prepared successfully to transition to post-school learning, living, and working. The Critical Components tool for special education programs was developed as a result of an extensive literature review to assist school leaders in facilitating conversations, reviewing and improving the quality of special education programs, services, and supports as a key component of continuous improvement efforts at the district, cooperative, and school level.
We will begin by reviewing the purpose and history of this project. The Blueprint Project was initiated to develop a tool to support continuous improvement efforts in special education that resulted in the development of an action plan. To support the development of this tool, a comprehensive review of current literature related to continuous improvement in special education was completed and compiled.
In addition, as a result of this project, critical components of special education programs were identified, as well as evidence-based practices in special education. Ultimately, a resource tool was developed that could be utilized for the accountability and support system of special education at ISBE, as well as by district, cooperative, and school teams.
As the project began, the developers identified the following core principles which would guide all of the work. Current research would be used. The focus would be on special education, reflect continuous improvement that led to action planning. It would be outcome-based. It would be evidence-based, research-based. It would be designed to measure growth and include a data review that would utilize a rubric and evidence to support ratings.
The project was initiated in 2018, and the action plan included three main parts. The first was the completion of a comprehensive literature review. The second was the actual development of the tool, including the identification of critical components and descriptors of each. Once the tool was developed, it was piloted by a number of districts, and an independent evaluation of the tool was completed.
One of the resources available to the field is the comprehensive literature review, which includes an annotated bibliography. This slide shows the 8 sections included in the literature review.
An external evaluation was completed to analyze the instrument and provide feedback on its potential effectiveness for districts, cooperatives, and schools. Dr. Burke provided several suggestions for inclusion within the tool. Overall, the critical components tool was found to be a comprehensive assessment that would lead to in-depth discussions and action planning.
Multiple districts volunteered to pilot the tool and provide feedback regarding the tool's usefulness and potential revisions. Districts and schools completed a feedback form and a verbal exit interview with the design team.
The pilot resulted in positive feedback from all participants. One of the highlights noted was that the tool sparked active discussion among participants about special education services.
In the next section of this professional learning, 3 documents will be reviewed and discussed, including the screener, the critical components tool for special education programs, and a data analysis worksheet. Let's take a look at the critical components tool for special education programs first.
You may want to refer to the critical components tool as we review the next several slides. This tool is comprised of 6 sections, including the purpose, instructions for administration, a rubric for evaluation, the tool itself, a place to record team discussion notes, and a data analysis worksheet.
Key elements of the critical components tool are outlined in the purpose. The tool is intended to be used to complete a baseline analysis of current services and assist districts cooperatives in identifying strengths and challenges within their entities. This analysis can then support the development of goals and action planning to address critical areas of special education programming.
It is important to note that the critical components tool should be used in conjunction with the continuous improvement process and integrated into the improvement plan that is in place in a district, cooperative, or school. It can also be used as a companion tool to the Illinois Quality Framework. The critical components tool may be used in its entirety, or specific domains may be selected based on identified areas of interest. In addition, a screener, which we will discuss further later in the presentation, is available to support the selection of specific domains on which to focus. You may want to pause this presentation to review the purpose of the critical components tool.
The structure of the critical components tool includes domains, indicators, and descriptors. There are 12 domains included within the tool, which identify the critical components of special education programs. Under each domain is an indicator, which provides an overall statement of expectation or a standard of excellence for that domain. Finally, there are multiple descriptors that further define the indicator and may provide activities to support the development of a particular domain and indicator.
This is an example of the structure of the critical components tool. In this example, the domain is leadership. The indicator is the district, cooperative, school establishes a culture of shared leadership, teamwork, and collaboration, focusing on continuous improvement. And 2 of the 12 descriptors are special education staff are represented on district and building leadership teams. It's a descriptor. A continuous improvement plan that aligns with the district, cooperative, or school goals is developed and implemented, also a descriptor. You may want to pause this presentation to review the structure of the critical components tool.
The next section of the critical components tool that we will review are the instructions for administration. It is recommended that the tool is completed by a team. This team should include a variety of stakeholders and representatives of both general, and special education. This team could be an existing leadership team or an ad hoc team developed for this specific purpose. The actual administration of the tool requires several steps. First, prior to meeting as a team, each team member must review the critical components tool and independently rate each item on their copy of the critical components tool. Each team member should think about evidence which would support their rating. After each member has reviewed the critical components tool independently, a team meeting should be scheduled to discuss individual responses and reach agreement on the rating that best represents the current status of implementation at the identified site. A team member should be identified as the note taker to record the ratings for each item, supporting evidence, and the team discussion. A facilitator to support administration of the critical components tool should also be identified. This process generally requires 1 to 3 hours to complete.
This slide illustrates the rubric that is used for evaluation of each descriptor. They include not implementing, emerging, implementing, and exemplary. As a team, the facilitator will identify each item and ask team members to indicate their individual rating by a show of fingers. Not implementing would be a fist, emerging would be 1, implementing 2, exemplary 3. If everyone is in agreement, the note taker will record that rating. If team members have varying responses, discussion will be held until a consensus regarding the rating is reached. Discussion will be documented in the notes section. The team must document evidence that supports ratings of implementing and exemplary only. You may want to pause this presentation to review the instructions for administration of the critical components tool.
Also included with the critical components tool is a data analysis worksheet. This worksheet is optional, but may be used to summarize the results, identify areas of strength and challenge. It may support the identification of priority areas and identifying items for further analysis and/or action planning.
In addition to the tools that have already been discussed, a screener was developed to accompany the critical components tool. As was indicated earlier, the critical components tool may be utilized in its entirety, or the team may select specific domain areas on which to focus. If the team determines not to utilize the critical components tool in its entirety, the screening tool may assist a team in identifying which domains to prioritize for improvement planning. The screener includes all of the indicators from the critical components tool without descriptors. Team members will evaluate and determine the current status of implementation for each indicator to assist in selecting domains for further evaluation. It is recommended that a team complete the screener in the same way that was described for the critical components tool. Upon completion of the screener, the team will review results and prioritize domains for further analysis. The screener provides an excellent way to narrow the focus of study for a district, cooperative, or school, and to identify areas of strength and challenge. It provides a vehicle for targeted planning and implementation. You may want to pause the presentation to review the screener for critical components tool.
All of the resources that have been reviewed may be found on the website listed above. In addition, the website also includes resources for each of the domains included in the critical components tool. Take some time to explore the website and all that it has to offer.
Also, take some time to explore the tools, either individually or as a team, that we have discussed in this presentation. Think about the strengths of the tool, the things that you notice, and how you might use this tool in your work.
Thank you for participating in this professional learning regarding the critical components tool for special education.